Well, Oklahoma is an energy state. Its projected tax revenue from oil and gas production will reach close to $1 billion this year. But oil is also infamous for having boom and bust cycles. Today, we look at the future of fuel and see how new technology and new opportunities could determine the future of the Sooner State. Here's our Brian Bindley.
Oil has been a part of Oklahoma since before Oklahoma was a part of the United States. In fact, the oil produced here in the state is worth more than all the gold found in the nation. And that value goes deeper than just the price of a barrel.
In Oklahoma, the oil and gas industry employs over 60,000 Oklahomans. That number increased by over 5,000 in 2005 and most likely will increase by another 5,000 in 2006. The average salary for an Oklahoman working in the oil and natural gas industry is almost $70,000 a year, more than double the average income of most Oklahomans.
Jeremy Rich is the president of the Oklahoma Independent Petroleum Association and represents independent producers who sell into the open market.
The oil and natural gas industry has a tremendous economic impact, both in relation to jobs and employment opportunities for our young people who don't want to leave the state, and also to fund the infrastructure of this state.
The oil and gas industry is the leading taxpayer in the state. Over $1 billion this year was paid in gross production tax, going towards education and state projects like roads and bridges. And with an expected 10% increase in demand over the next 5 years and the volatility of foreign markets, Rich says producers are looking in their backyard for the answer.
I think ultimately it becomes a policy decision. Do we want to rely upon our natural resources here in America, both onshore and offshore, to meet our energy needs, or are we going to put our fate in the hands of those people, possibly in the Middle East, possibly in South America, who in many instances are not friends of the United States?
And ultimately, that backyard is rural Oklahoma, something Executive Director of the Oklahoma Energy Resources Board, Mindy Stitt, says landowners should be proud of.
The oil industry has always been important for landowners here in Oklahoma because if they were just farming, a lot of the landowners, if they were just farming the land, wouldn't be able to make a living. And because of the oil and natural gas industry being here in the state and the royalties they receive from those, from the production on their land, they are able to continue their farming efforts and keep their land and be productive with it.
But because of increasing oil prices and a shortage of supply compared to demand, the federal government is putting more pressure on finding alternative fuels. USDA Secretary Mike Johans.
Our need for energy is not going to diminish anytime soon. The Department of Energy has forecast that by 2030, energy consumption in the U.S. will increase by over 30% from its current level. That's a sobering statistic.
USDA Undersecretary for Rural Development Tom Dorr says the quest for renewable energy is a great opportunity for landowners in rural America.
Renewable energy sources, not just ethanol, but biodiesel, digesters, other biomass, wind and solar technologies are taking off. And frankly, there is incredible, enormous potential to create wealth for all rural America,
giving farmers and producers other possibilities for their crops. But it's not just the immediate dollar that concerns specialists like Matthew Simmons, author of Twilight in the Desert. It's the lasting effects of staying true to the current path.
Basically, we're at the end game of the ability to produce abundant amounts of Middle East oil with a handful of wells, and those fields are too old. They're depleting. The oil left is abundant, but it's just lesser quality oil, tight rocks. We have to have lots of individual wells. So the era of Middle East oil as we knew it is over.
Simmons says oil will still be available, but access will be more difficult, and if changes aren't made, prices will continue to skyrocket.
When you have twice as much demand than you have supply, prices don't stay cheap,
leaving Americans the ultimate choice of changing the way we think about fuel.
If it's not biofuels, then it's probably, we don't travel.
Agriculture, oil and gas, all of us in rural Oklahoma are going to have to work together for our future. We can have a very bright future, but it's important that we understand that all of our economic forces in rural Oklahoma work together for a common good.
Challenges that all agree are an opportunity for Oklahoma to continue its dominance in the energy industry.